We are the worst team in Football Manager in Serie A. Will we survive? Well, we'll see that in this episode, so let's go. To kickstart the season, we've been given our budgets, and as you can see, we have about 6 million in the transfer budget and about 14.5 million free in the wage budget, which when adjusted it means that we have about 16.5 million for transfers and a couple million left for wages. And that's quite ambitious considering the Italian football's finances. This is actually quite good, and looking at our team, we are going to need it, as we need upgrades almost everywhere, and we've actually done that. Starting from the goalkeeper spot, we got Ilan Meslier for 4.5 million from Coventry, which I think is an amazing deal for a player this good. In terms of the defense, we actually got a completely new backline. On the left back spot, we got Jussi from Torino on loan. I think he's an amazing pickup that's going to serve us well at least this season. For the center backs, we brought in a bit more depth with Frederick Rosling for 850k and Yannick Loers from Hoffenheim for free. I think they are decent center backs, but they were brought in to have a bit more depth as Serie A is more difficult, which means we need a bigger team. And actually, who's going to play in the center back role? Well, it's going to be Kevin Mwanga, who we got for free. I think he's an amazing player actually. At his age, for free, he's definitely a good pickup. For the right back spot, we actually got someone you may have heard of, which is Joachim Mela. As a free agent for free, I think he's also a great pickup, considering that he's not too old. He can still be a great player for us, considering that we couldn't have gotten a better right back, I think. For the midfield or for the DM spot, we got Lorenzo Matucci from Fiorentina, and this was our most expensive transfer at 8.75 million. I think it's a worthwhile investment. Considering his current attributes, his age, and the talent he has, I think if we develop him correctly, he could be an elite DM for us. In terms of the center midfield spot, we reinforced it with Martin Payero for about 700,000. But in the center attacking midfield spot, we have another young talent, and we got him for free. I don't know how, but Valentin Carboni from Inter looks amazing. He has a lot of talent, and as you can see by his value, we are not the only ones who think like that. In terms of the wingers, we got Jadon Adai from Como on loan, who is going to be our starting winger, and his substitute is going to be a talented Gonçalo Sousa from Porto for free. To solve our striker problem, we got Yannis Santista from Sassuolo for 550,000, which I think was a decent deal considering he's a good striker. As for sales, we sold players that we knew weren't good enough to help us survive in Serie A, and this generated us about 7 to 7.5 million. But sadly, after all those transfers, we were still deemed as the worst team in the league and favorites to get relegated. But we will show that they thought wrong. But one interesting transfer that happened that wasn't really connected to our team was Erling Haaland somehow ending up at Al Hilal. I mean, I would play there too for like 92 million per year. What? To start the season, this is how our best 11 looks like, and in the first game in the cup, we actually won. But that happiness was short-lived, considering that in the first game in the Serie A, we had Juventus, where we, of course, as you can see, lost, which was quite expected. But still, I felt like we needed to switch the tactics a little bit, considering that our formation was pretty crazy, and this one makes a bit more sense. Also, with a couple tweaks with the in-possession tactics, mainly relying on counterattacks and playing a bit more safely, we still lost against Milan, and that was still expected too. But in the game against Genoa, we finally started winning some points with Carboni's goal in the 93rd minute. Yeah, this is the younger Carboni, by the way. And the next game was even better, with us winning 3-0 at home against Fiorentina, which was unexpected. I mean, they're actually a good team. Which means that after these 5 games, we were actually 14th with 2 wins and 3 losses in the league. I mean, this is good. I mean, 2 wins in a row and not being in the relegation zone, that's great. And now looking at the schedule, it's not looking that tough actually. We have a chance to win a couple more points too, right? Well, not that easily, as in the next 2 games, first against Udinese and then against Cagliari, we lost respectively. But somehow in the next game we're able to destroy Monza 6-2. I don't know how this was even possible. We are just a team that can play great in one match and then terribly in the other one. I don't know what to expect from this team, but I mean, this is still enough for us to not get relegated. At least for now. And with another win, this time against Lecce, we actually claimed the 14th position in the league, which I think is a great position for a newly promoted team, as we are in the middle, between the mid-table and the relegation zone, which I would be fine staying there. And because of our next match against Lazio, we might not even be staying there because we actually won. We might be even going up into the mid-table. Still, after this good run of games, I needed to change tactics a bit, to change the out-of-possession formation and to play a low block in the defense, as we have a tougher schedule coming up, as we have actually wrapped up the first half of the season. And I would say we are actually doing quite well, considering that we are a newly promoted team. I'm proud of this team and what we have done so far. But I guess the team's not proud of me as the morale is not doing quite well. Most of the players I actually have problems with are the ones that are role players or players that are just not playing because they're not good enough. And I wasn't able to sell them earlier in the transfer window. But one player that I'm definitely not going to sell is Gennaro Tutina, and it's not for a good reason as he's considering to leave as a free agent because, well, I did not want to renew his contract and he didn't want to leave. Yeah, it's that situation. For the preparation for the transfer window, my board actually asked me to improve our transfer budget, which I of course accepted, but I did not think they were going to increase the transfer budget this much.
What's the board special?
For example, nothing. For example, nothing.
I mean, by only 192,000, what is this? What can I buy with 192,000 in this market? Maybe chewing gum at best? What? And after those bad news, we had even more, as with the tough start of the second half of the season, losing against Roma and Atalanta, we end up being 15th in the table and basically near the relegation. At this point, we don't even know who's in the relegation battle. It's everyone. Looking at our chances in the next games against Inter and Milan, well, our fans and the pundits do not have a lot of faith in us as we are under 50% to even grab a point. But in the first game we were already able to grab a point against Inter away as we were leading almost until the end where Marcus Thuram scored a goal and spoiled our win. In the game against Milan we weren't as lucky as in the 88th minute Nkunku scored a leading goal and then he confirmed it with another one, leaving us without points in this game. To help us at least a little bit, I added another midfielder into the squad with Emre Demir, who's here for free and looks pretty nice, I would say. At least for a free player. In terms of our sales for this transfer window, we only had two. Manuel Tizzoni for about 700,000 to Getafe and Dennis Dressel to Oviedo for about 3 million. But after these transfers, we had other problems. As you can see, the club atmosphere and overall morale was not great and the board did not like it. Thankfully, they did not sack us for it and we were able to survive at least for some period. And that's going to be tough when we look at the schedule of what we've already played and see no wins at all. But looking at the rest of the schedule, there is at least some hope for us as there are some winnable games. But immediately we proved that it's not necessarily true as we immediately lost to Genoa. What's worse is that Genoa is also one of the teams that's trying to escape relegation as well. This was also the game where we made it 7 games without a win. Yeah, we are not doing well. To add salt on the wound, our substitute left back Franco Carboni got injured and is out for the rest of the season. Yeah, I don't know how we are going to play with one left back, but I guess we'll see. Also noticed in the data hub one of our major problems and why we are doing so bad this season is because, of course, of our defense. Yeah, that wasn't that hard to guess, I guess. But with an important win against Hellas Verona, another team that's battling a relegation, we at least got out of those last couple spots before relegation, at least for now. To reinforce the team, we got another midfielder, this time a center attacking midfielder, to help us a bit more because we need out midfielders considering we play the diamond system. We also wanted to solve a striker problem as we only have 2 strikers for a 2-striker formation, but the Neil Maupay deal fell through as Marseille couldn't sort out their paperwork, I guess. That's disappointing. In our next game against Juventus, our chances aren't looking that great. Still under 50% against the team that's actually in the first place and most likely winning the league. And sure enough, they displayed that dominance with the Panda scoring 4 goals against us. We were actually leading at the start, but just couldn't finish it. In the next game, it basically is a repeat of the previous one. We lead and then we lose again 5-2. What was crazy is that we're actually leading 2-0 and then we got a red card which made things much worse and we lost. After those 2 bad games we had another bad one as we had a draw until the 85th minute against Como at home and we somehow managed to lose it. Looking at the schedule, this all means that we had just 1 win this year so far, which makes things just depressing. But at least one positive thing is that Joao Cissé is developing and he looks amazing. This evaluation here definitely isn't correct as, I mean, he's our best player by a kilometer. I don't want to say a mile. In the next period of the season, we have a couple of easy games, and against Monza it proved to be right as we won 3-0 away. As we won this game, Valentin Carboni was entering great form as he scored 3 goals and had 1 assist in the last 4 games. But with the injury of Ferran Tresoldi, our starting centre-back, we were only able to draw against Parma even though we were first leading. Also in this game, we suffered an injury to one of our only 2 strikers in the team, which means we're going to have to play a system with 2 strikers where we don't have another striker. But it wasn't just those 2 injuries. injuries as we had even more compound over time, and also a suspended Mela, which meant that this was our starting 11. And this didn't look good, especially as we were against Lazio, who racked us 5-1 at home, which meant that against Lecce we didn't do it that much better too. All this meant that we were equal on points with Hellas Verona, meaning that if they won their game in hand, we would be in the relegation zone for the first time this season. And looking at our schedule, it's not even getting better. As you can see, our schedule gets more difficult as we have again that sequence of playing Inter, Atalanta and then Roma, so yeah, we might be relegated at this point. And then we suffer another injury, with USC getting injured, which means that we have no left backs available for our team anymore as our substitute left back Franco Carboni was already injured. But against Sassuolo, even with a wrecked team and forcing our third right back to play as a left back, we somehow were able to win, and not only win but demolish them 6-1 at home. I just don't believe. I don't know how can this team play so well sometimes. But the reason why is because we were playing that last Sassuolo, who might already be relegated. I mean, they are close, but I don't think it's enough. Also, since our striker Totino returned from injury, he's been in an amazing form, scoring 4 goals in the last 4 games. Also, because of that performance against Sassuolo, he actually got a Player of the Week award as well. And he's done all of that to get injured again, and this time probably till the end of the season. Yeah.
We are cooked.
And to confirm that we really are, we lost against Bologna away, which means that, as you can see here, we are closer and closer to getting relegated, but not quite. But with the upcoming schedule, it might become reality. Okay, we might genuinely get relegated. With this loss at home against Inter, we actually stepped into relegation zone for the first time this season. But then on top of that, we lost convincingly against 6th place Atalanta, which meant that now we were 3 points behind Hellas Verona, who were in 17th, while we were in the 18th and bound for the relegation spot. Looking at our schedule again, it's not looking much better. As you can see, the game against Roma is not the easiest one by far, and that last one against Napoli might hurt us even more, considering that in these last 5 games, we need to get as many points as possible. To add salt on the wound, our players do not believe the comeback seem impossible, as we can see by the club atmosphere. It's non-existent, it doesn't exist anymore. I've never even seen this. In the next game against Roma, we need to somehow get at least a point to challenge Hellas Verona. And the miracle was here, because we won 3-0 at home against Roma. I don't know how this was even possible. With a goal from Carboni and a brace from Cisse, we were able to claim all 3 points in this game, which was huge, considering that now we are able to compete against Hellas Verona. As now looking at the new table, we can see that we are only 1 point behind them as they drew against Como, which gives us a chance that maybe somehow we can squeeze points in the next few games and get ahead of them. Looking at our right back Mela, he got suspended yet again. As you can see, every single time he comes back, he gets 1 yellow card, which means he gets over the limit and gets suspended yet again. In our next game, we were playing against Torino, who are in bad form and also competing to not get relegated, so we might use their bad form for our advantage and claim even more points. Is it too ambitious for us? Well, we'll see. One big advantage Torino actually has is Big Yahoo's Franco-Israel powers, as, I mean, we are just playing against Israel, literally. And that proved to be right, as Big Yahoo stopped us from winning against Torino, losing 3-0 at home, and our chances are again pretty slim, considering that Hellas Verona have a game in hand at this point. In the next game against Udinese, it's a pretty similar story, as they are also in bad form and also competing to not get relegated, but this time they lack one thing, and that's Big Yahoo's power to stop us as we win away and claim 3 points. So in these last 2 games, the relegation battle has come down to 3 teams. It's Lecce, Torino, and us. In our last 2 games, we have to play against Cagliari and Napoli, which I think it's manageable to at least get some points off Cagliari. As for Torino, they have to go against Fiorentina and Roma, which I doubt they're actually going to get any points off them, which is a good sign for us. And as for Lecce, I think they have the toughest task ahead of them, as they have to play Napoli, and then in the last game against Inter, which I don't think they're also going to get any points off. So I think we have the best chances to survive and secure the next season in Serie A. After a couple solid results, we've improved our morale and the club atmosphere is actually noticeable, which meant that we were able to win against Cagliari at home and claim another 3 points. I don't know how we entered this great form, but this all meant that we were actually 16th and escaped the relegation spots outright. Looking at the last games, Torino have to play Roma, Lecce have to play Inter, while we have to play Napoli. All tough games, but I think that we are in the best position to survive, as we only need a draw to most likely survive. And equipped with the best team against Napoli, as we only need a point to survive. Are we going to be able to do that? Well, we actually were able to do that, and not only to draw, but actually to win the game in the 93rd minute and secure not only only survival but also the 14th place in the table, which meant that looking at it now, we weren't even close to getting relegated. Of course I'm joking, but in that game against Napoli, we were kind of FMing them, not that much. We were pretty close, they did not play that well, and even with a player less, as Mela got a red card, we still were able to secure the win, get all 3 points, and finish the season on a high, which meant that, as you've already seen, we finished 14th. Funnily, also, we actually conceded the most goals in the whole league. We had a pretty leaky defense that we have to fix in the next season, but also we scored fairly well. We actually were in the mid-table in terms of how many goals we scored, but the funniest for me is that on XG, we actually should have been relegated. We outperformed XG by far, and our goalkeeper won, the best goalkeeper in the Serie A, while conceding the most goals out of any Serie A goalkeeper. I don't know, but he also saved us many times throughout the season, even getting 7.11 average rating, which just shows how good he actually was. So yeah, that's it for this season and for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed, and see you in the next one.